In today's video, I'm going to show you how to brighten up vintage linens. Hi, I'm Kim Jamieson-Hirst of Chatterbox Quilts, and I like to collect vintage linens, and I have a lot of old doilies. Now, you've probably seen them. They look like this usually. They're usually a white or cream shade, and you can do different things with them in their natural state, but you can do something to brighten them up. It's fun to do, it's easy to do, and it gives new life to these vintage linens. So let's talk about what you need to be able to do this. What we're going to use for the coloring is Derwent Inktense Pencils, okay? They look like pencil crayons, but they're not, okay? The lead in these is actually ink. It will be permanent once I apply it to the doilies. So that's the color that you're going to use to give new life to these, but you need a few other things as well. You're going to need some, well, just really one paintbrush, so you can just pick up ones at the dollar store, nothing expensive required there. And you also need some aloe vera gel, just 100% aloe vera gel. So if you're not sure about that or where to get that, check above or in the description below, because I'll put a link to where you can get your own supply of aloe vera gel. I have a little cap here that I have just a little bit of aloe vera gel in. You don't need very much at all. And this is actually a cap from Pure Leaf iced tea. So I find it really handy actually. And you're going to need some water to rinse out your brushes and some paper towels as well. You'll need your iron and a pressing surface. So I actually have my wool pressing mat here so I don't press right on my cutting mat. I also have freezer paper on top so I can protect my wool pressing mat from color or gel. All right, so now you've got all those things, let me show you how to paint them. And by the way, you might be wondering what they may look like. Well, I have a few examples here. So this is the same type of little doily here. So I've colored this with 3 different colors. And if I am working with different colors, I typically start from the center and move out when I'm working on these round type doilies. I have some other ones here. This is like lace tatting, I think. And so very fine. And I colored part of it and left part of it natural. So this was not colored at all, but you can see I colored the center here and then used 2 colors around the outside. And I think it looks really pretty. I really like the result on these, and I like how fine and delicate these are too. So let's move those aside right now. And by the way, stick with me because at the end of the video, I'm going to give you some ideas for how you can use these newly brightened up doilies. Okay, so I'm going to take this little guy here, he's just a tad smaller. So it does take a little bit of time if you're putting several colors on here, but I think the results are worth it. So first off, you need to choose what colors you want to use, right? That's probably one of the toughest choices you're going to make, the toughest things you have to do with this project. So let's try something here. Let's try this. This is poppy red. Let's put some red in the center. And I'm just going to use this dry. Okay, I'm not doing anything. I'm not wetting the pencil. You can do that too. That's another technique. But I'm just putting it on dry in that center area. Okay. So you can make this as dark as you want. And really, you don't have to worry if it doesn't look as dark as you want it right now because the aloe vera gel is what's going to set this, and it's also going to bring that color right up. So you'll see that. But what I like to do is I like to fill in with one color. So if I'm just doing this color with the red, for example, I would stop here and then I will take one of my paint brushes and I'm just going to take a little bit of that aloe vera gel. Okay, don't need very much at all. It's probably more than I need. And I'm just going to apply that to that area that I've colored. So you can see right away how that's bringing that color right up. Look at that. Put a little bit more on. So it's better to work with just a little bit of the gel. And, you know, if you need to, add a little bit more. But you can see how that's brightening it right up. Okay, so let's say I wanted to do another color. How about a blue, right? Red and blue look nice together. And I'm just going to do this. Now, I can, if I want, as I did in the previous example that I showed you here, leave some of this, you know, natural in these vintage linens. You don't have to color everything. So maybe I decide I want to do some blue here, and maybe I want to do blue in every other one. I don't want to do blue on every single one. I'm going to skip one, so I'm going to do every other one. And you just go and keep coloring like this. I won't make you watch me color the whole thing, but I think you get the idea. And of course, once I've colored as much as I need to, I'm going to take my paintbrush out. I've had it in the water there. I'm just going to dry it off a little bit. Put some more of that aloe vera gel on it, And let's see the magic happen here. Okay, so even this one here, which is really lightly colored, you can see how much it brings out that color in there. All right, so you could keep doing this and keep coloring as much as you want on the doily, adding as many colors as you want on the doily, making sure that each time you've put one color down, you use the aloe vera gel on it to set that color, to bring out the color and set it in that vintage linen, and put it in water to get that color off if there's a little bit of that Inktense pencil on your paintbrush before you move on to the next color so you don't muddy things up, right? Okay, so once you're done, let's say this was all colored, then the next thing you want to do is to take some parchment paper, the noisy stuff I always say, and put it over top and just give it a bit of a press with your iron. It will help to dry the aloe vera gel, help to set the ink as well. So once this ink is on there, it's permanent. So you could wash it if you wanted to. Okay. You see, because it's got the gel, it's going to stick a bit to that parchment paper. So there we go. Okay, it's going to lighten up just slightly as I take that off, but still it's much deeper color than it was when I put the Inktense pencil on dry, right? So when you're finished, you may have something that looks like this, for example. Again, with, different colors, but you can see how cute that is. So it's kind of like adult coloring, right, on vintage linens. It's fun, it's creative. You can use as many colors as you want or as few colors as you want. You color them all the same color if you wanted to. It's up to you. So once you've got them all done, then what are you going to do with them? Well, I want to give you some ideas on what you can do with them. But before I do that, I want to give a big thank you to my Patchwork pals. These are members of my Patchwork Pal YouTube channel membership, and their support helps me to continue creating videos like this for you and other viewers. If you'd like to support my Chatterbox Quilts YouTube channel, I invite you to become a Patchwork Pal member too. Just click on the join button you'll see below any of our videos. You can get all the details and even become a Patchwork Pal today. So what can you do with these gorgeous, beautiful, brightly colored vintage linens? Well, I have a few ideas for you. They look really great on garments as an embellishment. So for example, I have a t-shirt here, and you could put the vintage linen down at the bottom here if you wanted to and just have it like that. Maybe you want to have, if you had some small ones, I'm going to take some uncolored ones here, but use your imagination, right? You could even have some come down here. You could have one just in the center, things like that. So lots of different ideas you could do with clothing as far as t-shirts. What about a button-up shirt? Okay, so you've got different ideas here again. You could put the little ones up top if you wanted to and have them coming down. That's always fun. You could even put them on the pockets if you wanted to, but be careful of placement, ladies. What about on the cuff though, right? You could have, if you've got small little ones, they would fit right on the cuff. That would be very cute as well and show up even down the sleeves, right? You could have a whole bunch of them down the sleeves. If you did that, I'd probably do it just on one sleeve. I think that'd be kind of cool. And of course you could add them to pants, the hems of pants. At the bottom too, that'd be fun. And what about taking other vintage linens you have? So for example, I've got a napkin here. You could put these on napkins as well. Again, I like to put things in corners, right? Or down, kind of off the side. You could do that. Because it's a napkin, I would probably put it in those areas rather than the center where you're probably going to use it, right? But you could have something like this even. But if I was using on a napkin because it's something that you're using, I would probably stick with a small one as a little accent down the corner so that you've got the rest of it to use for, keeping yourself clean, right? Now, there's something else you can do with them, which I think is really quite fun, and that is that you could take your vintage linen once it's all colored, and you can add some invisible thread to it and hang it. I think this would look really cute in a window. You could even use these as like pennants and kind of just stitch them together at the side and then hang them. Maybe you color them red and green. They look cute at Christmas, or purple and yellow for Easter, that type of thing. But I think they look really pretty, especially if you have big ones like this. I think they look really pretty in front of a window. I think that would just be quite fun. And people would wonder, what is that? How did you make that, right? So I hope you've enjoyed learning about how you can upcycle and brighten up some vintage linens, and that was done with those Derwent Inktense pencils, just to show you again. And check up above in the description below for links to get your own set if you don't already have one. Now, while I've talked about using those on doilies, you might be wondering what else you can do with Derwent Inktense pencils. Well, don't worry, I've got you covered. Check out this video here for all the helpful information that you need. Thanks so much for watching today. For more helpful quilting information, be sure to go to my website at www.chatterboxquilts.com.